the Grizzlies are both back in action tonight. Looking forward to that. The Tigers get another shot at a ranked team. This time it's Vandy, one of 7 undefeated teams across the country. And Joe Denk off today. We will have the only guy who's ever done both Memphis and Vandy play-by-play. That is George Plaster with his unique vantage point in this particular series. The Grizz will play tonight. Josh questionable. Maybe Brandon Clark is going to play for the first time this year. Just when Cam Spencer was getting hot, he's out for personal reasons. I hope he's okay, or somebody in his family's okay. That hurts for sure. They will be in Minnesota. By the way, did you see what Tennessee did to Louisville last night? Tennessee held Louisville, which hit 18 of 34 threes against Memphis, to 6 of 34. In the game against Memphis, the Louisville bench had 40 points. Against Tennessee, they had 3, with a bucket coming at the very end of the game with like 10 seconds left. Really, 40-1, pretty much. They couldn't hit a 3. Tennessee went big, and Penny decided actually in that game to go a little smaller at first. It all backfired, but he's got another chance tonight because Vandy is, as we mentioned, in town, 13th in the country. They play very similarly to Louisville. They make 12 threes a game. No, they make 11. Louisville made 12. They make 11 threes a game. Hopefully, the Tigers have figured out how to close out. That is going to be fun to watch for sure. NBA news, the Knicks were the winners over San Antonio last night. They get the cup, whatever that means. That's just a way to try to drum up some interest. I think it does, though. I think the purpose was pre-Christmas to have interest in games. I think it's worked. You know, the San Antonio and OKC semifinal, that was a big game. People took notice. And then last night, you got the Knicks, biggest market in the country, and they're in Vegas. Everybody's talking about new coach Mike Brown. Would he be the right guy? And he was the right guy. Look, they win this cup. They're off to a good start. Brunson was, as always, outstanding. And I thought in an upset, because I thought San Antonio had made a major statement with Wembanyama back, but no. So that opens up the door. The East should be really good between, next year the Celtics, but this year the Knicks, who had advanced a little bit, against either. I think it's going to be OKC. I still think they're by far the best team, and I think they'll repeat, but I think there's a little drama now, and that is somewhat due to this cup, where you get a little early season championship. I heard Mike Brown say we're going to put a banner in the Garden for this. So we shall see about all of that. And the Tigers football team, they are in Tampa, and we did find out now 2 of the Tiger players who have said they were going to join the transfer portal are not in Tampa. They're not on the roster. Everybody else is. Apparently NC State's got everybody back. The only 2 that aren't here, or aren't there, are a defensive back named Samson Israel, who'd become a starter because of injuries. I don't know if everybody's healed at that position at this point, so he may not be missed that much. The other guy's a guy who didn't play. He's an offensive lineman named Sean Duggery. And I don't think that's a real minus, although Memphis did lose their right tackle due to injury about 2 games ago. So he's obviously not going to play. But other than that, everybody should be able to play. Reggie Howard, I know, is really excited. Oh, one last thing I forgot. On the NBA, the commissioner Adam Silver, excuse me, get choked up over this, said for the first time they'll have a definitive word about what they want to do about expansion coming next year. And he mentioned, and he wouldn't have mentioned this unless this is pretty well a done deal, Vegas and Seattle, which has been teased for the last 5 years. Those are the two markets, biggest markets that are open, that are worthy. They had a successful venture in Seattle and won a championship there before. They built a new stadium, which was the whole thing to begin with. And it's a great stadium. Memphis played in the NCAA out there, and the NHL team is out there. So they're going to get one. Vegas has just about every major league now. They will when they get an expansion team. And the owners are going to do it, even though they're going to go from 1/30th of the slice of the pie to 1/32nd. They're going to get probably $3 billion per team entry fee. That'll be $6 billion that the 30 owners will slice up for themselves. It'll all catch up in the long run. Anyway, that's where we are as we sit in the Family Leisure Studio. And just a quick reminder that hot tub and swim spa clearance sale still going on, where you can get a hot tub for under $2,500. The best part of this thing for me is the in-stock patio furniture, because it's beautiful. I've seen the layout. It's all the latest right now, because if you wait till spring, you're going to pay a lot of money. Right now, you go in, you pay half the price. Half the price. Tell them we sent you, by the way, and especially if you get a hot tub, because you will get a special gift, and those are usually valuable. So tell them we sent you when you go to Family Leisure. All of a sudden, time has changed.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
Good morning.
Hey, well, I'll get to sports and everything in a second. I was pulling out of my driveway this morning to come here, and my neighbors across the street have put up a sign in their front yard. It's just a blue yard sign, and in white print, it just says, "I like Memphis." Now, that's a good way to go.
I like that.
You know, you don't have to go over the top. You don't have to go, "I love Memphis. I heart Memphis." Just, "I like Memphis." You see, Memphis is fine. I don't actively dislike Memphis. That's enough. I just thought that was a nice understated sign.
There you go.
I like Memphis.
So you had a good start to your morning.
And I do like Memphis. I've often said I love Memphis.
Here.
I chose to move to Memphis. I chose to move here because my girlfriend and now wife lived here. And by the way, tomorrow is my wife's birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy
to my
birthday.
wife. She is celebrating her birthday tomorrow. So, yeah, you said, as you pointed out, the Knicks won the NBA Cup. I don't know that it was that impactful. I barely paid any attention to the NBA Cup. I mean, yay, go Knicks, good for you.
Well, if the Grizzlies were a part of it and made the playoffs,
of course I would have paid attention to it, but I wouldn't have thought to hang a banner if they won it. I would have thought, okay,
that was Mike Brown said that.
Yeah, and I like Mike Brown. I thought
Me
Mike
too.
Brown was a great hire. Adam Silver has already announced that the Cup will not be played in Vegas next year. The commissioner of the NBA. There's a lot of things to do in Vegas.
Where are they going to move it?
I don't know, but he has announced just that it's not going to be in Vegas.
Okay, so for the first 2 years, they also do the Summer League there,
right,
which apparently is very successful.
Yeah.
I don't think they're moving that.
No, I don't know anything about that, but I know that he said that they're not going to play it there. And Barkley called the Cup a joke because the players only care about it because of the prize money, and they should be content to just play basketball for a living. Well, they get extra dough. Good for them. Who cares?
They didn't even ask for it.
Nobody's getting hurt by this. I don't think anybody's being particularly helped by it. A tournament a third of the way into the season just seems kind of stupid. But, hey, like you said, it draws eyes. When the NFL, which is king, is starting to get close to the playoffs, they need to draw eyes to the NBA somehow.
What they needed was to make their TV partners happy. And they thought this would be meaningful games pre-Christmas, because if you looked in the past, this would be a good topic for Joe to really look at, but if you looked in the past, NBA's numbers never really picked up until Christmas.
Right.
So you're playing 2 months with nobody watching.
We never really thought of the NBA season as starting until Christmas.
Right.
It was just, it was being played. We watched it because we're sports people, but most people were like, oh, well, I'll start paying attention to it when the games actually matter. And as you said, Adam Silver did announce that next year they will address expansion. And he said specifically that they've been eyeing Vegas and Seattle. And he said, well, I don't want to I don't want to be seen as teasing these teams
Yeah.
by specifically mentioning the two cities and saying we're going to expand to two other cities, like, say, I don't know, Seattle and Vegas. But I don't want to be seen as teasing these cities. They are going there. I honestly believe for a long time that there would never be a major league franchise in Vegas, and now, like you said, they're all going to be.
They're all there.
I never thought it was going to happen.
Yeah,
it just seems like it's there's just too rich a vein of gambling to have all of the major sports there. It's just something's going to happen.
But it's everywhere now.
But something, we have scandal after scandal after scandal.
I can't believe it, but seriously. And that's why it's okay to move there, because it's not the only place. Gambling is everywhere. The other day, like at 4:30 in the afternoon, I'm going to ESPN, I'm going to FanDuel, I'm going like 4 different places on my cable system had gambling shows on.
Yeah.
Basically, sports shows that were all centered around how you could make a buck tonight if you bet with FanDuel or Sports Kings or whatever the heck they are. It's just it's omnipresent now,
and it's going to continue to cause scandal after scandal after scandal. Congratulations to Sacramento State's new head football coach, Alonzo Carter. Alonzo Carter has a nice resume. He's been an assistant. He's been a head coach on a lower level. Now he is the head coach at Sacramento State. And one resume entry that he has in the 80s, the new head coach of Sacramento State was a backup dancer and choreographer for MC Hammer. I'm not making that up. It's absolutely true. And you got to be so tough to make a living as a football coach when there is footage on YouTube of you dancing in harem pants. But it's out there.
It's there.
He was a backup dancer. A friend of mine had a great joke back in the day. It's not my joke, but when MC Hammer started going by Hammer, he said it was like he was abandoning his Scottish heritage. Mick Foley, I don't know if you saw this, announced that he's leaving the WWE until Donald Trump is no longer president. This is Mick Foley. He started out as Mankind in professional wrestling. His character was described as a masochistic, mentally deranged lunatic. His weapon of choice was a sock puppet.
Oh.
Mick Foley. So this is going to have an impact.
With you, I'm not really familiar.
This is really going to have an impact on politics. I mean, that's really going to swing some votes. If
Can't
Mick
forget
Foley,
Cactus Jack and Dude Love too.
Say that again.
Can't forget Cactus Jack and Dude Love.
That's right. There were 3 Mick Foleys. Exactly. He was 3
Split personality.
Characters. Yeah. He was a deranged lunatic.
So, you're saying he's going to sway the vote?
Yeah, I think it's going to really be impactful. But now this is impactful. Vandy's quarterback, Diego Pavia, who did not react well to not winning the Heisman Trophy.
You know what? I can full confession now. I voted for him to win the Heisman.
I thought he should win it. I don't now.
And I'm almost sorry that I did, because I really this. I've never seen a guy blow his brand in basically one tweet. It's sad.
Exactly, because when you look at it, Shedeur Sanders, and I hate talking about Shedeur Sanders because I hate the idea that I'm talking about the Browns quarterback. We should never have a reason to talk about the Browns
quarterback. I love
quarterback.
that he was the Browns quarterback last Sunday.
Yeah, but Shedeur didn't. Yeah, of course you did, because he just laid down for the Bears.
Well, he just couldn't do anything
because he's not
the Bears
good
defense.
But he was at one point he was talked about as a Heisman contender, and he dropped to the 5th round just because he's kind of a schmuck.
Well, that is why. He should not have been a 5th round guy.
No, of course not. No, I agree.
But I don't think he's any better than a 3rd round guy, to be honest.
Pavia, with one tweet, cost himself millions of dollars.
Well, he did. I don't know if he'd ever be an NFL quarterback anyway. He's really not very – he's not big. He's certainly mobile. He would have been drafted, but I don't think he would have been a first-round draft choice.
Well, whatever he was going to be, he's dropped considerably. Of course, Michigan fired their head coach, Sharon Moore, for being a very, very bad person. And it led to this headline. This is a real headline. Biff Poggi to coach Michigan in the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl. That's like a sentence out of Mad Libs.
I know.
That's just a bunch of words.
Well, first of all, Biff Poggi is sort of a Mad Lib character.
Yeah.
You
goes
familiar
by the
with
name
him?
Biff. Very little about him. Just what I've read in the last couple of days.
He actually, in your old hometown, was the football coach. He's a guy, he and his wife became billionaires by operating a hedge fund. and he wanted to be a coach. So he went to be a high school football coach. He parlayed that into basically buying a team for Charlotte, and he mangled the deal. He was a terrible coach. You could see during games when Memphis played them, I would go, what is he doing?
Well, now
so wait a second. Yeah. Then he goes to Michigan of all places. He's the interim guy. That is buffoonery in its in the best way you can do it.
Hey man, he's going to the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, so that's good to hear.
Biff at the Cheez-It.
Phillip Rivers gets another 5 years of NFL insurance. Have you seen this?
That's no. The thing. You are kidding.
When you retire from the NFL, you get NFL insurance for 5 years. Phillip Rivers was just about to run out of his NFL insurance. Phillip Rivers has 10 kids and a grandkid.
Right.
He needs that insurance, and now he's got it for 5 more years.
Seriously, he gets 5 more years?
5 more years. And
it's playing in one game?
It's really good insurance, and he gets it for 5 more years. And he looked okay for the Colts for...
No, he looked better than okay.
He looked better than okay for a fat 44-year-old guy.
That didn't play for 5 years. Can you imagine that?
The question is, what are the Colts going to do when he gets hurt? Because he is going to get hurt, because he's fat and he's 44 years old. He's going to get hurt, and then they'll have 4 quarterbacks who can't play. What are they going to do? I sent Landon a text last week that said if Joe Burrow had said 2 weeks ago, I'm not having fun playing football, he'd be wearing a Colts uniform.
What do they got? 3 games left?
Yeah, they got 3 games left.
3 games left.
He would.
He could make the playoffs if he plays like he did. Look, he had the game won. The defense blew the game the other day in Seattle.
I was in here, I think it was about a month and a half ago. You weren't here. Landon was filling in, and everybody was talking about the Colts. The Colts are going to go to the Super Bowl. Daniel Jones is going to be the MVP. And I said neither one of those things is going to happen. And it's not going to happen. The Colts are not going to go to the Super Bowl, and Daniel Jones was never going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. Even if he didn't get hurt, eventually he was going to realize that he's Daniel Jones. And this one, I've got to get this in because this is one of my favorite stories of the week. Where was I? That was Burrow. Burrow is not going to retire early. There's been people have been saying, he's talking like Andrew Luck. No, he just doesn't want to be a Bengal. I don't want him to be a Bengal. You don't want him to be a Bengal. I think Bengals fans don't want. Bengals fans are like.
Bengals fans want to.
No, I think at this point they're even like, okay, this isn't cool. Let's let him go play for a real football team. They got a Matt Stafford him. It's not fair. And I saw this. I was about my notes said that Miami head coach Mike McDaniel was open to the idea of benching Tua. It came across the crawl a little bit ago. He has in fact benched Tua in favor of Quinn Evers, who is a rookie who's been so impressive in practice. He's been listed as their emergency quarterback. The emergency quarterback normally for an NFL team is a kicker, not a guy that they drafted in the first round.
So that's the former Texas quarterback you're talking about.
But so they're gonna move him up. The new head coach of the Giants, Mike Kafka, has released punter Young Ho Koo. Would you say? Do you think it's Young Ho or Young Ho? I can't figure out how you would pronounce that. But Young Ho Koo, you remember, kicked the field instead of the football.
I think the emphasis is on Koo.
Koo. So we'll just call him Koo instead of Young Ho.
Right.
So Koo, who kicked the field instead of kicking the football, has been cut outright.
I've never seen that, by the way.
Well, I just think that Kafka was really hoping that Young Ho Koo would have a metamorphosis. That's a Kafka joke. If you're scoring a little, come on, man! I got in a joke about a philosopher. You got to give me some credit for that. The Jets lost to the Jaguars, allowing Jacksonville to score on 8 of their first 9 possessions. Jacksonville's a real team.
They are. Well, Trevor Lawrence is looking
like
Trevor
Lawrence.
Clemson. Yeah,
looking like the guy who wasn't ruined by playing for 1 year under Urban, right? Urban Meyer. Terrible year. That almost destroyed him. And they have fired their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilkes. That decision was made by Coach Aaron Glenn. In a little over a month, Woody Johnson, the mentally deranged lunatic owner of the Jets, will be making the decision to fire Aaron Glenn, who will not be coaching there next season. For the fun of it, Vlad Guerrero and some other Blue Jays decided to see what would happen if they hit BP with metal bats. Did you see that?
No.
Vlad Guerrero was hitting 550-foot home runs with a metal bat.
I bet.
It was a blast to see. Oh, yeah. North Carolina high school football quarterback Mama J. Thompson had one of the most spectacular touchdowns I've ever seen. He hurdled an opposing player and cleared this guy by a foot.
Wow.
By a foot. And scored a touchdown. Didn't count. Because in every state except Texas, hurdling is not allowed if the opposing player is doing anything but touching the field with their feet or their knees. You're only supposed to be able to hurdle a player if they're down. This guy was up because of head and neck injuries. Sure. But he was never at risk.
I've never heard that rule.
Yeah, it is a rule by the...
this is a high school rule?
It is. It is the National Federation of High School Associations.
So the only place you can hurdle a
is in
person
Texas,
standing is in
where
Texas?
they just do whatever they want to in Texas because they're Texas.
I meant to say this. Your take quickly. Kurt Cignetti wins the AP Coach of the Year again. He's the first guy ever in the award's only been around since '98, but he's the only guy ever to win back-to-back, and he joins this company as two-time winners, which is pretty impressive. That would be Nick Saban, Brian Kelly, Gary Patterson. The only other two that have won Coach of the Year twice by AP.
But he's the only one to win it back-to-back.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Good stuff as always.
I like Memphis. That's all I'm saying.
I do too.
Memphis is fine.
I do too. I'll tell you what
Memphis is perfectly okay.
I'll tell you what I really like. Besides just Memphis, it's a part of Memphis though. I like Dinstall's.
It's a Memphis treasure.
I love Dinstall's, I should say. It's countdown to Christmas, and Dinstall's is working hard to make all your favorite sweet traditions just right in front of you. They put it right there at 5 locations: downtown, Germantown, Collierville, where they make it in Pleasant View, my neck of the woods, Laurelwood. 5 different places where you can pick up every kind of new sweet tradition that you might have, or even the old ones. Don't forget the Cashew Crunch, or they got chocolate Santas that you can put right in the stockings. Place your order now. Stop by any of the 5 locations. Dinstall's, they've been making holiday memories forever, over 100 years. And you want to be the hit of your party or the love of your family? Get them Dinstall's. There's nothing sweeter. We take the break. When we come back, we're going to Nashville. We're going to get the perspective of George Plaster, the only guy to ever be the play-by-play guy for both Memphis and Vandy. He's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
The next time you're driving into work and you're feeling hungry, take a second before you pull into that fast food drive-thru. Imagine what you're really looking at. Some generic, bland, probably just thawed breakfast you're going to try to juggle while you drive. You could do that, or you could simply aim your car at Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar and actually enjoy your breakfast. Sunrise prides itself on fast, fresh, cooked-to-order food. There's no lukewarm bin of biscuits at Sunrise. It's just a matter of starting your day in a bad mood or starting your day happy and full of Sunrise.
Hi, fellas, it's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and you cannot wait much longer. It's time for action, and you've got to make some decisions now. What are you going to get her? What's going to make her happy? Where are you going to get it? Well, let's make it simple for you. Come see us at Russell Brothers and look at some of the most beautiful jewelry you can find. Look at diamond rings. Look at stacking bracelets or stacking rings. Look for magnificent gold and gemstone earrings, diamonds, sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and so much more. Let us show you our almost endless options. I promise we can put a smile on her face. For over 40 years at the same location, we've been helping Memphis men make those important decisions. Come let us help you figure it out. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, where service, quality, value, and integrity are our values. Come see us at 4646 Poplar at Perkins. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers.
Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious vans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used, they've got it with fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters, 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family, driven to keep you on the road.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Take me to the bottom of your soul. Take me to the bottom, lead me to the take me to the
We head to Nashville, talk to an old friend with a unique perspective. George Plaster, as far as I know, is the only human being ever to have been the play-by-play guy for both Vanderbilt and for Memphis. So, George, you got this unique perspective. I know you probably never thought about that before, have you?
No, you know what's funny? They played each other in a home-and-home, I want to say 3-4 years ago. And I'm sitting there at Memorial Gym watching it, and all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, you did both schools.
That's right.
And, you know, as we age, that kind of crap just sort of filters into your brain.
Well, I think it means something. I mean, that's a pretty unique perspective.
Yeah.
You know, you came here, didn't last a whole lot, but you went right back and you got the gig with Vandy, which I know was something you really wanted.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did 3 years of it. You know, I didn't know, Dave, at the time, the sports talk stuff really was just starting to happen. And I had no idea that ultimately that would be, I guess, my calling card more than the play-by-play stuff. But, you know, it's worked out great. And, you know, same thing with you. The truth of it is, and I've said this before, you should have gotten the job when I got it. And now, look, it's turned out the way it should have.
Well, I appreciate that. It's been a long time. That is for certain. And, you know,
we were young and thin.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious. I know the last time we talked, I was on a new thing you were doing with new technology, just so people know, because you were a long-time talk show host in Nashville. What are you doing now?
I do a show from 3 to 5 p.m. every day on 94.9 on the FM dial. And we do all the podcast stuff, all the stuff that I don't totally understand. We do. And thank God I've got, you know, a couple of younger people involved in this because they kind of prop me up technologically.
Right. Well, weren't you doing some sort of a web thing that I was on a couple of years ago when we were in Nashville?
Yeah, at the time, it was just in podcast form. About a year and a half ago, went back on radio as part of it because I wanted to be able to take phone calls. I know, like you, that's part of the fun of sports talk radio.
I haven't taken phone calls in years, to be honest with you. But no, I understand where you're coming
Probably
from.
safer.
Yeah, definitely safer. All right. So I first off, I'm always amazed. I have a daughter and a grandson that live in Nashville now. And so I'm there, and I'm always amazed at the growth. When you left Memphis, I can't even remember the year.
88.
88. And you went back home. I mean, from that point to now, how different is Nashville?
Oh, my God. It's a city I don't even recognize. When I go downtown now, I'm like, how did all this happen? And the truth of it is, I guess what really sort of started the whole thing was when Mayor Bredesen, who later became governor, made the decision to build an arena. We really didn't have that, and that became a huge thing. And nobody knew at the time that the Titans would kind of fall out of the sky.
Right.
Dave, I remember the day after the first game that I did at Memphis State, the Kansas City Chiefs and the St. Louis Cardinals played a preseason game at the Liberty Bowl.
Right.
And, at the time, everybody believed, including me, that Memphis was going to get an NFL team.
Oh, yeah. That there weren't just that wasn't the only one. There was 4 different exhibition games that were put on in Memphis, and everyone thought Memphis was going to get the NFL team, which is part of the reason why there's such angst when people talk about Nashville, because there's the sense you stole a football team. And I do believe when I drive in and see all the cranes in Nashville that it's like Tampa. A lot of that is attributable to the fact that the National Football League came to town. Now, you did start with the NHL, so you got your first major league team prior to that. But most of the growth, I think, can probably be explained by the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a good piece of it. Right now, isn't real pretty. They are a dumpster fire.
Oh,
and
they're bad.
The kind of pride that was here 25, 30 years ago when Steve McNair and Eddie George were here, the pride in this community, because they were a group of players that really got out. They were a part of this city. They were winning, which sure helps it. Now, I'm not convinced we know them. I think we've got an owner that doesn't know what the hell she's doing. I think you've got some front office people that don't know what the hell they're doing, and it's a mess.
Well, the biggest mistake was Vrabel. I mean, you went from Jeff Fisher and you ended up with Vrabel, who's a great coach, and he's showing that with New England. The mistake was made with letting Vrabel go, in my estimation. I never understood that move. On the other hand, let's talk about the excitement of Vanderbilt football, because that came out of nowhere, and how Clark Lee has just become a champion for Nashville. He could have gone somewhere else. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Maybe Michigan still goes after him for all I know. But he got that deal because he said, I'm going to stay. And he was a Nashvilleian. He's a Vandy alum. I mean, you talk about a Hollywood story. That's it.
Oh, yeah. And it's really funny, Dave. Before I came to Memphis State, I did Nashville Sounds games on radio. And Clark's dad was the team physician. So when Clark first got the job, the first time we met up, I hadn't seen him in a few years. And the first thing out of my mouth was, how delirious is your dad? And, his dad has probably enjoyed this more than Clark has. So he's got a lot of family here. I took him at his word when he said he really wanted to stay here. But, when you start dealing with stuff like LSU or Florida or Penn State or Michigan, that's a totally different story. I mean, that's stuff that you got to stop and say, well, now, wait a minute. Let me think about this. And who knows? I mean, the history of Vanderbilt, the history of Vanderbilt football suggests that this is not sustainable, but who knows? Maybe it is.
With NIL the way it is and a popular hometown guy running things, I don't know. He's got to find another Pavi. He just got a 5-star guy, so maybe that'll be the case. All right, before I run out of time, I got to ask you about the game tonight. The Tigers are underdogs. I think it's 7.5 points. To me, I look at Vandy. I look at the numbers. They're similar to a team Memphis lost to just a few days ago in Louisville, but this is in Memphis. It's the first time Vandy's playing on the road. And who have they beaten? Do you think 7.5 is right on this?
I don't know. I mean, here's what is different. And Dave, I think they ought to play each other every year.
They signed a new 4-year deal, I think, so I'm glad they are.
Yeah, and, to be honest, I'd like to see it in football, too.
Me, too.
It makes way too much sense when people are yelling about, costs and all that kind of stuff. This is, by a mile, the most athletic Vanderbilt team I've ever seen. This guy, Mark Byington, is a relentless recruiter. I would describe him as a workaholic. I don't pretend to know how he's done it. I thought a year ago he got him in the tournament, with smoke and mirrors or whatever the term is. This year, I think they're for real. But you're right. They haven't played anybody on the road. There's been some neutral site kind of stuff. This is going to be a really interesting test of, okay, in the past when they would play Memphis, there was a clear athletic advantage in Memphis's corner. I want to see tonight what that advantage is or isn't. Because to me, when I've watched Vandy, that's the thing that's different.
Yeah, I don't know that Memphis has the athletic advantage like they have the last couple of times. The Commodores and the Tigers got it all together. It is Byington has done a good job. Do you have any idea, by the way, what their NIL budget is? I know Louisville's was $14 million. I know Kentucky's was like $20 million. So it's not just how much. You've got to spend it on the right guys. But, Memphis is about 4.9, I believe. So
yeah, and I think this is going to become a big, big story here later in the year because Byington has sort of put it out in an interview with Yahoo Sports, and nobody paid any attention to it, that he's not getting the kind of money he needs. Sankey put out this directive of, here's how you ought to spend your money, and everybody bows at his feet like he's the Pope.
Right.
Well, this is a different school. This is, to me, a basketball school first.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it weird?
How about Indiana? Think the same thing with Signetti in Indiana.
Yeah. Google me, I win.
Yeah.
I love that quote. But I think it's going to become an issue because I don't think he's got the kind of money you just brought up or the kind of money Tennessee has got. Because I think they're closer up to the 8 to 10 million range, which is absolutely crazy.
That's where we are. It's a crazy world. College athletics has changed forever. Toothpaste out of the tube, not going to go back. Then you got to figure out how you can keep up with the Joneses. And when you're getting Power 4 money, it's a little easier than it is when you're not. And those are just the facts.
Yeah. No kidding. Hey, Chip Walters said to say hello to you.
Tell him I say hi. He's still doing middle, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is. I just talked to him a few minutes ago, and I told him I was coming on your show, and he reminded me, I guess the two of y'all did some stuff together like 86 or 87.
Oh, yeah, way back when, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back to like prehistoric days.
Well, he used to be the voice of the Tennessee radio network, the sports voice. And he's terrific at what he does. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, and a really good friend.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's a good guy. So we need to do this more often, George Plaster. Since I know your show's in the afternoon, I can hit you up more now.
Dave, anytime, and you know what? I'm going to do the same because it's great. Hey, it's great hearing your voice. And I don't know if you remember a day you and I went and played golf.
I do remember that.
And it was like 34 degrees and sleeting. What the hell were we doing?
Well, we were young and crazy. I will say this to you. I'm gonna make you play again. My daughter's house is a half a block away from the 10th tee box of Shelby Golf Course. We're going to play Shelby Golf Course. You got it. Thank you, George.
Heck yeah.
I appreciate you.
See you, Dave.
Take care, buddy.
You too.
That is George Plaster, the unique position of being the play-by-play guy for both the Tigers and the Commodores. We've got the roundtable that comes your way next. Corey Glore, who's coming to Memphis here tomorrow, I think, and Bruce Howard in Tulsa. They come your way in just a minute.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
I can't tell you the number of times I've heard people tell me that they wanted to wait until spring to put their home on the market. This is Sheldon Rosengarten at Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and think about it. In March, April, when the azaleas bloom, so do the real estate signs. More competition. We've been in an unusual market in the last year, and to get an edge on other homes on the market, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. I've developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. From the preparation before you go on the market to the presentation and keeping you informed every step of the way, it's rare that we cannot provide results. That's why people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Write it down or call me now, memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
It's a holiday experience like no other. The Light Garden at Olive Branch City Park. It's a walk-through entertainment extravaganza with hundreds of giant 3D Christmas light displays, photos with Santa, LED mini golf, a Lego shop, food and drinks, and special event nights, including fireworks on New Year's Eve. Bring the family out nightly through January 1st. Go to lightgarden.online for details and tickets. Plus, stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM for chances to win tickets to the Light Garden in Olive Branch.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. Let me ask you something. Are you seeing unsightly water spots on your ceiling, in your home, your office, or even worse, mold? Have you noticed shingles missing, pieces in your yard, or signs your roof just doesn't look right anymore? Here's the facts. What you see inside usually means there's already a bigger problem above you. At Metro Builders, we don't just guess, we inspect. Our team performs a full roof inspection right on site. We take detailed photos, document everything, and show you exactly what's happening with your roof. Whether it's a simple repair or a full replacement, don't let anyone tell you it needs to be replaced when all it needs is a repair. We offer free inspections, on-the-spot estimates, clear explanations, and yes, financing is available. Before a small issue turns into major damage, make the phone call that protects your home. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. Or check us out online at metrobuildersmemphis.com. Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. We don't just build, we build world class.
Give the gift of fun with Premier Lanes Entertainment Center. Located next door to Malco Oxford Common Cinema, the area's largest family fun center features bowling, Action Alley Arcade, birthday parties, events, and more. Book your fun today at premierlanes.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All right, let's head down to New Orleans. I think I've got you locked in. Corey Glore and also Bruce Howard. We go to Tulsa. Time for the roundtable. It's kind of weird. The College Football Playoff Committee has sent you to Memphis for the Ole Miss game, Corey. Why is that? And you're staying near Graceland, right?
Yeah, where are you taking me Friday night, Wolo? We're crashing to Memphis here in a little bit.
I'm still trying to figure out something in that neck of the woods. I may send you to the more to the places I sent you before.
Okay. Yeah, it's so when we played at Ole Miss in week 4, we stayed in Tupelo. I think that's where a lot of folks stay, but because of the number of hotels and hotel rooms available in Tupelo compared to Memphis, and the sizable travel party that will be coming here for Tulane, Memphis was the spot to put everybody in. So the CFP, they're putting us by Graceland here, it sounds like, before we head down to Oxford on Saturday.
That is wild. Are you guys bringing a lot of people to Oxford?
There will be a couple of planes. I'll say that. a couple planes are heading up there on Friday.
I wish, I'm going to ask Bruce first and then get your take on this. I kind of thought they should have swapped the seating with Texas A&M to avoid a repeat. And you could have made an argument that Texas A&M could have been the 6 and Ole Miss the 7. There's a lot of different ways you could have done that. Bruce, I hate the repeat. How do you feel about that, especially since Ole Miss beat them by 5 touchdowns?
Yeah, I would agree. I think a lot of times in like in the NCAA basketball tournament, they try to avoid having those clashes of teams that have played each other 2 or 3 times. So, yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And and Oklahoma's playing Alabama. That's a rematch.
Yeah.
OU beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa earlier this year, and of course the folks here in Oklahoma are all hopped up about having a home game against against the Crimson Tide. So it's yeah, I don't know if they think of those things or not, or they just seed them and go just blow and go. Of course, you have so many SEC teams; they're going to clash at some point anyway.
That is tough because of the amount. I agree with that, and I think that home field really should help quite a bit. Of course, it didn't in the first game, but we'll see what happens in this one. So, Corey, do you think you can reverse what happened earlier in this year with this football team? You still have your coach. They do not have theirs.
I don't think a 35-point defeat is on the table. That was still in the days in which, honestly, Jake Rutzloff was trying to figure out who his receivers are. He had a terrible game in week 4 at Ole Miss, and this was the early days of Trinidad Chambliss leading Ole Miss, and so there wasn't a ton of film on him just yet about what he would be able to do with that Ole Miss offense. Well, it's a major uphill climb. I'm not going to mince words that. Like, Tulane has to play absolutely perfect if they want to pull the upset here. But they were injured in that game. Their whole offensive line had shifted around, and they were not full strength for that game in week 4 up front. They actually did an okay job defensively on the defensive front. They also did a pretty good job on Kejuan Lacey and stacking him up. And so there's things to build off of from that first game, but they still need to be perfect if they want to pull the upset. I don't think that the 35-point margin we saw in week 4 is on the table, but Tulane needs to play their best game of the year, no doubt about it.
I do think, you point out an interesting thing. Chambliss gets all the headlines. Lacey sort of is an underappreciated weapon. It is interesting, and their defense stopped you cold, and Pete Golding is still the coach and now the permanent coach. So that is an uphill climb. The ACC announced yesterday that for 26, they're going to go to a 9-conference game format with 12 of their teams playing 9, only 5.
Dave, I dropped the call, or the call dropped. I'm not sure. I can't hear you.
All right, we hear you. We got you.
Oh, okay.
We got
Now
you.
I hear you.
All right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. 12 teams are going to play 9 conference games, 5 because Clemson, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and North Carolina and Boston College already have multiple Power 4 teams. I guess they didn't want to mix it up. So 5 are going to play 8, 12 are going to play 9, and then in the following year, everybody but one, because they have an odd number, are going to play 9 games. Seems weird to me. You ought to pick up another team if you're going to do that kind of a deal, because it's weird. One team is going to play one less conference game every year. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Your thoughts on that, Bruce? And would you like to see the American go, especially since they can't seem to get the Power 4s to give them ball games? Would you like to see the conference go to 9 games?
Well, if you continue to have problems scheduling decent games, maybe that's not a bad idea. But I agree with you. I think a team playing 8 and a team playing 9, that brings up all sorts of tie-breaking issues. In terms of who's gonna get in and whatever. It'll be like baseball where you got a half game out there. So I'm not going to call it silly. I guess I understand why they're doing it, but I can see only it creating some confusion and some problems, from this viewpoint.
Corey?
I'll call it silly. I won't mince around like Bruce did there. It's silly, and this is kind of the consequences of the ACC's actions of expanding the way that they have and then not really looking into the future about how to alleviate problems like what crept up this year with their tiebreakers, and this is an overly complicated way to try and smooth that out. I mean, at this point, why not just go back to where we were with divisions and conferences? And this would seem to smooth things out a little bit more, and you can reassess who's in what division after each year and try and balance it out. But the fact that they're getting this crazy with who is going to play whom and how many times they'll play in conference. This is a league that played a conference game last year that was not called a conference game because it was already on the books for a non-conference schedule before things realigned. That the ACC is in scramble mode to me, and in terms of the American playing 9, they might be forced into it. I don't think that would be great for the league, but because everyone else above them is starting to shave down their non-conference games, the American might be forced into playing 9 themselves.
I'm with you. And it seems to me the ACC is like making it up as they go along, trying to figure it out without a real plan in place for what the future might look like. And having 17, how do you go to a 9-team format when you have this odd team that you cannot make it work? It just makes absolutely no sense to me. I think it works for Memphis and for the American to go to an extra conference game for football. Could you imagine how disastrous this would be for Ken Pom and for net rinking if you did that with basketball? Because it's a bad basketball league, but we know it's the best of the group of what will be 6 when it comes to football. So it only makes sense you might strengthen yourself if you did go to that extra game. Bruce?
Yeah, I would agree. If you can't get that really good non-league game, which would appear to be the case, that try to strengthen from within. And I agree with your guys' assessment on the divisions. I really like the divisional setup. Of course, with the American, it's 13, right? So you'd have 7 in one league, 7 in one division, 6 in the other. But I've always liked that in terms of, hey, you play everybody in your division, you get a true division champion, and then you get a true champion by having the 2 division winners go. So I like the division format, to be honest.
Corey?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the basketball thing, I know there were rumblings about moving to 20 last year, and then the commissioner, Tim Pernetti, kind of listened to the feedback of the schools and said we should not do 20, let's keep it at 18 for now. I mean, the league is just bad right now. There's no other way around it. No, the league is not where it should be for basketball. Now, I think what needs to happen before 20-game conference schedule becomes a reality, you're seeing other leagues expand out their conference schedules in basketball, too. The league needs to really have a concerted effort to building the non-conference slate. Memphis can get who they want, essentially, but a lot of other teams, pretty much every other team, really struggle to try and book some non-conference games that were of major merit. And so the league needs to come up, I think, with some ideas here to help the league as a whole, basketball-wise, to strengthen the first 2 months of the year before we consider 20 conference games.
Well, maybe they need a TV partner to do that, because if you're going, and I know, Corey, you have said before, Ron Hunter went to several of the power teams and they just wouldn't play them. then you've got to be enticed somehow by TV. Bruce, I wanted to ask you, do you think, back to football for a minute, will Oklahoma and Oklahoma State continue to play you guys? I see you got Arkansas this year. Memphis got bumped. Do you think those Power 4 teams are still going to play you in football?
Well, I do know this, that the contract just started a year or two ago with Oklahoma State, and it goes for 8 years. So that one's kind of locked in at this point, although I suppose it could be bought out. Tulsa plays Arkansas next year. OU may be a little bit of a different situation for us in that there's nothing on the table at this point, although who knows, I could look at a future schedule and see them pop up, but I don't think there's anything on the schedule. And those are obviously good games for Tulsa. They're actually good games for Oklahoma State, even here in Tulsa, because of the alumni base for Oklahoma State here. So there are some positives certainly for them, although their fans obviously are not in favor of the game, because it's a no-win game for them supposedly. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at, at this point in the state of Oklahoma.
Congratulations, and we'll talk more basketball next week on your 10-1 start, Mr. Howard. Corey, wave those American flags high in Oxford. Good luck to you in that one, and we shall all chat next Wednesday.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's Corey Glore. That's Bruce Howard on the American Athletic Conference Roundtable. It's all brought to you by Southern Security. What a great time we had out there. What a beautiful facility. If you haven't seen Southern Security in Collierville yet, you want to know what a bank should look like, what a lending institution should look like, oh my gosh, please go. And if you need cash, you can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security. You'll have no payment for 60 days. It's not for profit. So they're going to give you the best rates, the best deal that is out there. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle, and they do that for up to 72 months. To find out how you can put more cash in your pocket, call. You talk to a human being at 901-452-7900, or just apply on the website. That's southernsecurity.org. Southern Security, your home team credit union, voted the best credit union in the last 6 years in the area, and federally insured by NCUA. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Stick around for that. Have a great day, everyone.